So we are here for round 1. I have a puppy in tow. Probably can't see her. She's tiny. But we won the die roll. And our hand is medium. We have a Serum Visions, but our hand isn't even good if we get there. Like, we definitely want a fetch land, but then what are we doing from there? We have, like, some Pester Mites and whatnot. We have a Tasker that's probably going to cost 1,000,000 mana. So this is really not what we want with our 1-land Serum Vision hands. So I think we're just going to ship this one. And probably not feel bad about it. Because even if we had a second land... I mean, if we had a second land, we'd probably keep. But the fact that we need 2 lands to even do anything, and that anything is not very spectacular, is cause enough to mulligan, I think. And this hand is clearly poor. This hand is great. So we only have 5 cards, but we can make a little something happen, I think. Ooze Noble Knight. So looks like with the Wolf run, looks like our opponent is playing Paul Rietzel's Naya Collected Company deck. So I think we just want to take this Knight because it's the scariest card. The Ooze is also going to potentially be an issue, but we can deal with that, I think. At some point. Just need to draw a little something, you know? Well, now we have the combo rolled up. We just need to get there. Just running lands, one of which is red, and we should be good to go. Assuming our opponent is not a jerk and peels a Path to Exile. Or, I guess, a Kasali Pride Mage. So, opponent's on a 7-outer, basically. But we still need to get there. And opponent is just not even playing a spell. Okay, they're going to play a spell. They just want to attack first. Fair enough. Never mind. Not even playing a spell. I guess it's kind of nice, like, you get... If they don't have a lot of action, I can totally see them waiting until this turn to play the Ooze, because I can remand it and they can just replay it, so... they make me waste my mana a turn, and I don't get to cantrip as early, so that kind of makes sense. But if my opponent's just going to attack, I'm still kind of confused why they're just never going to play a spell. Yeah, I don't like this. I would have preferred to play this main A, get it remanded, and just replay it, and move on with life. Alright, so we can just terminate that Ooze on the way back down, so that's good. I do feel like we want to Serum Visions, though, to hit our land drops. And Terminate is certainly fine against this deck, but what I actually want are lands. Collected Company is a hell of a card. And there's a Pride Mage, so... in a little bit of trouble here, especially considering the Wolf run. I think we dicked around for a little too much. Unfortunately, this is a Delta, not a Tarn, so if we want to get a red source, we have to take 3 damage. We could... we could just fetch tapped. Yeah, I thought they would attack with both. So now we let them get the extra Exalted, which is kind of annoying. Ooze is fine. So terminate that thing down to 8. Next turn we can go tappy tappy on the Smiter. Oh, so many Pester Mites. Pester Mites for days. This is the bad part about playing the combos, drawing way too many combo pieces. Well, what are you going to do? So we will tap the use. Get hit for 5 with this thing, which could be 7, thanks to the wolf run. We'll hope that our opponent will not do that, because then we have to draw an untapped land. Maybe we just get bolted and die, but yeah. Nothing else we could really do, and we weren't even going to draw the land, so kind of an unfortunate game there. And then, how do we deal with the zoos? Again, I think comboing is the best course of action here. So Spell Skite, Spell Snare, Dispels. I could see the Pyroclasms because they kill Pride Mage and the mana creatures. Not too interested in Tasigur or Kolagon's command. So I could see the Cut and perhaps the Pyroclasms. And maybe not this Cryptic. So on the play, I feel like we're not going to need to regain a bunch of tempo or anything. So the Pyroclasms might just be better on the draw. On the play, I think we should just be focused on comboing. So I like this configuration. I don't think we need the Cryptic command. It's possible they bring in Blood Moon and the Magus of the Moon that they have, because that game, obviously, I was all non-basics. So don't really want to be messing with the triple blue spell. And Murderous Cut is fine if we're trying to play a grindier game, but we're not really. And generally, I think 6 removal plus 2 discard, 2 Spellskite is probably enough to deal with stuff like Pride Mage. Otherwise, there's not anything really specific that we need to kill. So we'll just stick with our good combo deck plan, because I think that's more of a solid plan, and we will definitely keep this hand. And we have Basic Swamp, so I think we're going to get Basic Island and then maybe fetch a duel next turn. And we don't want Deceiver or the Sulphur Falls. So bottom both. And then if our opponent plays a bird or a Noble Hierarch, I could see just bolting that. If it's a Pride Mage, or not a Pride Mage, Nicodle, we could almost certainly bolt that too. But we do want to kill Pride Mage, so maybe it's worth saving this bolt. And now we just play a game where we have to find Splinter Twin in a reasonable amount of time. Well, now we have a remand, but we can't remand a Smiter. So I still kind of want to just bolt the Noble. We could just play a Blood Crypt, but I think we're going to fetch a red land with this Tarn anyway. So it's whether or not... And by red land, I mean Steam Vents. I don't think we need a mountain. We might need double blue to play 2 blue spells in 1 turn, like a Snapcaster or anything, so... if we fetch a Steam Vents now, we shuffle in the 2 bad cards that we put on the bottom. So I could see just playing the Blood Crypt. That seems pretty reasonable to me, actually. Remand is certainly a good draw, though. Definitely going to want to remand their turn 3 play. Hopefully it is not a Smiter. And depending on how things are going, even if it is a Smiter, I might remand it anyway, but we'll see. There's a Nicodle. Alright, we found our Steam Vents. So now we can just fetch Island, I think. We could like tap our opponent's land and make it so they can't play a 3. But I think it is just better to do this. Play Deceiver, untap our land, Spell Snare. Now we have a blocker for the Nikado, but they should side out Lightning Bolt. I don't think that everyone necessarily does that, so if we can play around that still, we probably should. Our opponent doesn't even bother attacking, so that is good for us. Now we'll just play the Swamp. So we can go Pestermite, untap our land, and remand if we want to. It is certainly a possibility that maybe they want to keep this fetch land open so that they always have a white source that can't be tapped down. Because now if they just pass the turn with like a white source open, maybe I'm able to Pestermite it down, and then I have 2 things. They can't path them both. And then I get to, you know, twin up one of them. Well, we'll see what happens here. So here's a Smiter that we can't do anything about. Opponent still has that Plains open. And we're going to take our window now. Hopefully draw twin and just win the game. Deal. I will take it. Twin, please. That's not a twin. Alright, Pestermite's not doing any blocking, so I guess we're doing some attacking. I guess even if they kept the fetch land open, given how the game had progressed... Well, no, that was only because they pathed me, but... yeah, even after they pathed me, I could have played twin with remand open, but... Right, let's get this other steam vents. And now we're basically just dead. Because we never drew anything. Well, Spellskite could potentially help, but it's more likely that we just get bolted and die. But yeah, we just can't do anything. We would have to chump with Pestermite. That's it. We just lost. Kind of what happens with the twin deck sometimes. You have your 4 of combo piece and you just don't end up drawing it. So what are you going to do, you know? But I do feel like I got it in kind of good both games, you know? Like it was fairly close. Like I had my window to have twin and kill him. In game 1, if I would have had lands, maybe I could have won also. But, you know, that's kind of what happens when you mull to 5 is generally your draw is not very good. So... you know, kind of some unfortunate ones, but no big deal, no big deal. We can bounce back.